This committee will come to order. Certainly like to welcome my fellow members as well as our witnesses and guests to this first hearing of our Subcommittee on Government Organization, Efficiency, and Financial Management. I certainly am honored, Mr. Chairman, to be working with you again. And for those who don't know, when I was last in the majority and had the privilege of chairing this subcommittee, Mr. Towns was my ranking member for those 4 years. And when he went into the majority, I got to be his ranking member. So we're playing musical chairs here, but the same commitment of working together for just good government issues. So again, Ed, delighted to be reunited with you. I'm going to offer an abbreviated open statement because we appreciate our witnesses' patience in holding down the fort here while we finished up votes on the floor. But we're anxious to get your testimony. Our focus here today is really to look at a specific issue, financial information of the federal government, and particularly how that information is reported and then acted upon, and specifically the consolidated financial report and how we can make it more useful. The question we're asking is how we take that information and make it more useful, not just to Congress, but to the American people. And certainly given the deficit spending that we see year in and year out and a $14 trillion debt, we know the American people care deeply about this issue, about how we're handling their money responsibly or not. I want to certainly applaud the Federal Accounting Standards Advisory Board for taking a very important first step in convening a task force to look at the federal financial reporting model and how we can improve that model and make it more beneficial to, again, the public as well as members of Congress. Delighted to have three wonderful witnesses here today. First, Mr. Tom Allen, Chairman of FASAB. I understand this is the first time that FASAB has been invited to testify before Congress. We're glad to have you here. Mr. Jonathan Brule, Executive Director of the IBM Center for the Business of Government, and we're pleased to have you testifying before the subcommittee again. Mr. Towns and I certainly benefited from your expertise in the 108th and 109th sessions of Congress, and know we will again be benefited and blessed by your information and your expertise. And finally, Mr. Mike Hettinger, Executive Director with Grant Thornton. It's really great to see you here on the other side of the table. For those of you who don't know, Mike was our subcommittee staff director for 4 years and did an outstanding job, and as well as other positions here on the Hill, and kind of brings perspective of both a staff person as well as now in the private sector. As we speak, the Government Accountability Office is releasing its biannual high-risk list. Many of the issues identified by GAO have to do with sound financial management, more likely a lack thereof. Though this may seem somewhat dry, some of the topics our subcommittee will deal with, it is incredibly important. Nothing is more important than being effective stewards of the taxpayers' funds, particularly in difficult financial times as we see facing our nation today. This hearing will set the stage for our agenda over the coming 2 years, and it will especially provide us an opportunity as subcommittee members to prepare for our next hearing, when we will have Treasury, OMB, and GAO before us to testify about the consolidated financial reports. And what we hope to glean from you is ideas we can share with those witnesses in a few weeks and get their input on your recommendations of how we can make the information more valuable and useful to all parties. That hearing will be on March 9th. With that, I'm going to submit the rest of my statement for the record and yield to Mr. Towns if you'd like to make an opening